Welcome everyone to the podcast. It's me Zero here with.
Rye.
Drago.
And Vashi V.
And today we're talking about Kamen Rider Ex-Aid episode 30. So last episode, Parado got a really good new rider form and body snatched Emu. Now the other riders have all gathered at CR where Poppy shows them the Mighty Action C Gasha she found, a level 0 one. According to the manual, it was specifically designed to suppress the Bugster virus. Puppy believes she might be able to use it to cure Emu. It's a bit of a stretch to jump from suppression into be able to cure, but hey, at least it's worth a shot, right?
Pretty much.
The only issue I have with it is that to me it seems like a last minute Ex Machina thing. I know it's not. I like all of this was thought out because with the way this episode plays out, this whole thing has been played out from the get go. But the jump to immediately, oh well, this will cure him. It like you said, it is a bit of a jump.
Sorry, could you repeat what you just said? My bad.
We're talking about the level 0 Gashat Poppy found.
Oh, we already got to that.
It's the first thing that happens!
Calm down, man. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like I like the effect where it's all like black and stuff, and I kind of like how it looks when we go into like the Bugster game world, and then it, like cuts to like Poppy running around, and then like
Well, we haven't
cuts
gotten to
to,
that
like,
yet. I'm just talking about how
fine.
she's showing it to the others at the beginning of the episode.
All right. Um. Well, at least she like revealed it right off the bat, so I'm like, that's nice. But I mean, what else is there to say? Like, this literally the only option they have left at this point.
There's an emergency call, and they all head out to find the Bugster motors. Again. Well, he doesn't have his bicycle this time. Because Taiga and Hiro got their asses kicked last episode by Paradox, Poppy and Nico henshin to fight together. We get a dual henshin between them, that's pretty cool. And then Motors, despite not having his bike, runs off at a really fast pace. So, unfortunately, we don't get to see much of them fighting together.
Yeah, I that was something I really liked about this episode. When Poppy and Nico both transform, but they didn't fight much. That was a bit disappointing.
I agree. The fact that there wasn't a long fight between in this case between the three of them, because Bruce was involved in the fight too. I was disappointed it was short. The other issue I had is I get that things happen off screen, but nobody looked for her buggle driver yet she has it. Like I said, I understand it obviously happened off screen, but there could have at least been a line of, I might need to go find that.
She
Other
threw it
than
like
that-
10 feet away from her.
Yeah, I know, but still. I mean, there was. It was just kind of one of those things. They kind of made it seem like the buggle driver was broken with that scene. But, while Mutters does not have his motorcycle, he does have a pair of handlebars. And they're bicycle handlebars. Just to be clear.
I love how he just holds them out like he's still steering when he starts running
just
away.
Runs away. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Just a couple things. Like, yeah, it did bug me. Like, when did Poppy get her driver? I mean, my biggest problem was it didn't break. It's like, didn't she throw it in the river or something? Like, wouldn't it float away? But whatever. It's fine. Um, yeah, Motors is great. Um, but it kind of concerns me. Like, we've transitioned from a rider show where the riders don't have bikes to, hey, this monster is all about being a biker, and we took his bike away. Like, Toei, you're stepping your game up not in the right way. But it's still hilarious, so I'm cool with that. Um, as for Nico and Poppy henching, that was cool because I think this is the first time we've seen like two female riders henshin in a show. I know in the Kiva movie they did it, but I think this is the first time in a show two female writers have henshin together, so that's kind of cool.
Think this is the first time in a show where we've had two female writers, or at least at the same time. Am I wrong about that?
Would Kiva count?
Did Kiva have two female writers at the same time?
Yeah, I didn't.
Only in the movie.
I think this would literally be the first time it's happened. Because obviously at this point we have to classify Nico as a even though she's just a writer player. Because
Well, she's different because she knows what she's doing.
right, she's different. She knows what she's doing, and she has decorated herself.
I
Yeah,
mean, she has backup too.
when she henshin this time, she just already had the cap and backpack and sticker on. She didn't have to do that manually this time.
Man, I'd really wish they'd get rid of the damn backpack. I mean, the cap is cool and it's all you need. Like the backpack just seems so bulky.
I see what
Okay.
you're saying.
Yeah, and the other problem is it's the curse of like the female. Like, yeah, right, man. Do they always have to do the dance spin when they henshin? Like, come on. It's not even that they had like the henshin guards when they were doing that. Like the monster could have attacked them because like only after they do the spin does like the background pop up and it's behind them.
Transforming is a free action.
Okay. Is it like Doctor Who or talking? Is it whatever?
I'm just gonna equate it to just like Power Rangers. There's why none of them should have ever not been knocked the hell out by the bad guys. You're just literally just standing there doing something. You should get hit in the face. But I guess the rules of invasion, taking over the world when you have to fight multicolored teenagers, is if they're transforming, you don't hit them.
Cool transformation poses deflect bullets, apparently.
Yeah, Peridot proved that.
Or you could be like Dragon Knight, where they had the energy thing. That made the most sense to me in any tokusatsu.
I didn't watch Dragon Knight.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like that energy spear thing when they go henshin and it just forms around them. Yeah, yeah. That's actually probably the best henshin guard.
Like I,
kidding.
because of the way it's used, sometimes I would also Uchu Sentai. Because they sometimes shoot that crap out in front of them and it works as a shield. And then they run through it.
Okay, moving on. Emu shows up to the scene, but the others quickly realize it's just Parado possessing him again. Parado leaves Emu's body and hinges into Paradox level 99. He intends to take out Poppy for being a traitor. Emu then stops him by calling out to him, and Parado is pleased to see the fire burning within Emu to fight. Parado suggests a more fitting arena for their showdown. The others protest Emu not to go, but he insists on doing it. We actually get a really good speech here from him too, as he talks to each of them about like, "Hey, you guys go take care of the other stuff that needs to be done. I'm just gonna go fight my bugster." Drago.
Yeah. That the in this scene actually I really like the fact that Parado understood Emu on a really deep level, that he knew which buttons to press to for Emu to actually gain more control of his in body's buckster, or whatever is remaining in his body. And then he literally suppressed the buckster virus and then stood up. That was pretty neat. Convenient a bit, yeah, but and otherwise also the speech that Emu gave to other people was pretty nice, pretty well written though.
For me, the only issue I had, a slight issue with it, Parado should be smart enough by this point that he should not have been caught. Because the only reason why he got caught was when referring to himself, he used Ore instead of Boku, which they had pointed out earlier in the series when M had taken over Emu, which we all now have the explanation of that was really Parado. So it seems dumb at this point that he got caught because of that. When it comes to like the overall speech and everything else, I will admit once he dropped the Emu act and revealed himself as Parado for that a couple of seconds while he was still in Emu, I liked the way his actor portrayed the movements of Parado. Like it's not a long scene with it. It's like, but Emu's actor is extremely good at what he does. And then the speech and everything else once he's provoked to fighting Parado, the way he basically tells everybody, I got this, but he has that look on his face of, I'm probably not going to win, but y'all get out of here anyways. I have to do this because it's what needs to be done. And him trying to remove all of that responsibility from everybody else was fantastic, and it was a very well done speech.
Yeah, you guys basically said pretty much everything I was gonna say. Um, yeah, really well acted. As for Peridot, I think he's just doing the same thing Dan did. Is like they get too cocky, and he fucked up. And like at that point, I don't think he cared enough because like his real plan wasn't to like mess around in Emu's body. It was just to get Emu fired up enough. So his real plan was basically to attack Poppy or anyone, I guess, at that point. Um, man, all he had to do was get him a tie. It would have worked much faster.
What?
Vashti, do you get my joke?
No, I missed it.
My God. Okay, making a drive joke.
Oh, okay, I get it. Huh.
I haven't seen
I
Drive.
should not have missed. I should have not missed that joke.
Okay.
Shit.
It, so So this must be the sensation everybody has when I make jokes. To just utter confusion.
It's fine. I mean, my jokes tend to be terrible anyway.
I haven't seen Drive, so like.
Yeah, that's why I said Vashi. But basically, what happens, Kamen Rider Drive, Tomari, which is hilarious because Tomari means stop, whatever, and he's like the main rider and he's a cop. But his thing, because like all freaking after decade riders kind of have like a gimmick thing, for them to get like super serious or in the moment. But his thing is he has a tie and it's loosely tied, and whenever he like zips it up like properly, and he's like, "Oh, my brain's in like top gear or whatever," so like he's fully, you know, um, like super serious, and basically that's what Peridot wanted Emu to be, is like, be super serious and fight him seriously. So that's what I said, just get him a tie. It would have been much faster than all this.
Okay, I get it now. Uh, so during the commercial break, we get a commercial where Emu, Hiro, and Taiga advertise some kind of energy drink, I think. Uh, I felt the need to bring this up. The kid is like jump roping, they're like, oh, he doesn't have the energy. Here's this drink. And I don't know what if it was like a juice or an energy drink or what.
It's like an energy drink. It's in every Heisei Rider at least. Um,
Seriously?
Seriously, it's been there. Like, it's I know it's freaking Kuga had it, Agito, Faiz, Ryuki. It's like in every single one. It just shows up and it's like that same bottle. It's like they put it in like, how like rider helmets, it's S something and that's the company and they always use that. And so that's the same thing. Like for this drink, if you ever see a rider give somebody a drink, it's gonna be this thing. But XA, they haven't really done it, I think. Oh no, maybe they did in like a hospital scene or something. Usually it's in a hospital scene. Uh,
The thing I found funny about that commercial was it's Emu going, I need to help this kid, and then Taiga and Hero stop him to do the whole he needs to do this on his own, or all that, and then they go, all three of them go, let's give him a drink. It's like to help him. It's like you're doing exactly what you told Emu not to do.
I know, but it was so like in character. I'm like, this is freaking genius. I mean, that commercial was cheesy as hell, but like their henshin when they jump in henshin was so badass. I'm like, fuck it, this is now canon.
Yes, this scene happened.
So if for whatever reason this commercial ends up in the download packs for wherever you guys download this from, watch it. It's
on the
worth it.
Facebook.
It's on the Facebook for TV Nihon.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
Go watch it. It's worth it.
Okay, back to the actual show. Prado brings Emu to the operating room where they were separated 6 years ago for their final battle. But then they stage select to some junkyard anyways. So what was the point? Also, stage select hasn't been used in a while, so if you don't know what that is, it is a feature that these riders have where they can just create a representation of an area. It's not entirely explained, but they basically go somewhere else.
Yeah, the state select mechanic hasn't been explained. I don't know. For me, I always thought that they teleport somewhere else instead of representation. Otherwise, there was no point of them going there anyways. But I guess symbolism.
Honestly, by this point, the stage selects stuff to me, because it usually works one of two ways. Either they'll transform and stay in, for lack of a better term, the real world, and the game items will spawn in it, or they will do a stage select. I don't think they physically move location because they literally end when all this ends and the game world closes. They're usually back wherever they were at. I think it works as more of rather they transport into the game itself rather than as a mechanic of, which would make more sense in Super Sentai, not destroying the world around them as a way to, hey, we know things are going to explode and blow up and all that. let's take it to somewhere it will not affect the real world. I think that's more the mechanic that it is. So for anybody who can't follow along that path, alternate reality, for lack of a better term. They create an entire world inside of a bubble, and that's where they're at. They don't physically move; they're just the bubble forms around them.
I have a problem with that explanation because when graphite and Emu and the other guys were in the different locations, they teleported basically the same location whenever after they transformed.
Well, yeah,
Explain me that.
they pulled graphite into it somehow, which was never explained. Maybe it's because he was their target for the game, but it has been shown that like at one point Graphite and Genom just teleported themselves into the stage select that was already there and left and didn't appear there.
They've also done the reverse too, where I know Dan had done it, where he had transformed somewhere else. Emu had finished off whatever the monster of the week was at that point, and Genom did the stage select and took Emu to where he was at. That whole system is wonky and truly has not been properly explained.
I think the smarter thing is just to not explain it like, unless it needs a real reason to explain it, because it's just plot convenience. And the reason why they're really doing it is because that's how Toei shoots shit. You know, they tend to like cut locations and stuff. This was an okay enough explanation for it. Yeah, it's weird that they haven't used it, but like so much shit's been going on lately. Plus, they've been dealing a lot with Kamen Rider Chronicle, which takes place in the real world. So like stage selecting out wouldn't make a difference because the fight would still just be the same anyway. Um, as yeah, it's a weird mechanic, but it works well enough. I mean, as for is it alternate reality or are they just teleporting? Like, it's kind of hard to tell because, like, if you watch Go Riders and things like that, like, Ginham is capable of just creating, or Dan was capable of just creating like pocket dimension virtual spaces. So who the hell knows? But originally, I thought it was teleportation. Oh, as for like, would it be more useful in like Super Sentai? Yeah, not in Sentai, but in Ultraman Nexus, he actually has that power. So like, whenever he starts his fights, he like kind of creates this like dimensional gate thing, or basically he ports himself and the monster into like this pocket dimension. And then like later on, like the monsters get strong enough that they start breaking out of it. So yeah, it's been used in some other stuff.
Alright, we're gonna take a break from Ex-Aid versus Paradox and talk about Poppy for a second here. So Poppy decides to test the Level 0 Mighty Action X Gashat. She inserts it into her buckle driver, but it doesn't henshin. So being a bugster, she decides to enter the game's data. And we see her just kind of like explore the prototype game world a little bit, where she gets chased by some enemies and stuff. And we get this kind of like funny little scene where it's just a 2D shot of the game of her running away. I thought it was funny. But mostly what I want to talk about is, what was Poppy's plan? Because she knows that the Gashat was designed to suppress bugsters, and she is a bugster. So wouldn't one think that her using it would be a bad idea? And also, when she found it, it was packaged with a gamer driver, but she tries to insert it into her buckle driver. I don't think she entirely thought... Go on.
Yeah. You know that Bucksters can't use Gamer Driver.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't think Poppy entirely thought this through.
Yeah, she didn't, because the thing about it is that she didn't think this through. She didn't think this through because she tried using it with Gamer Driver too. I guess she just went inside to check if there's any glitch or something she needed to fix.
With her using it in the Boggle driver, I considering the whole purpose of what she assumes that this is for, I don't know what her thought process was. Because logistically speaking, this is like basically stabbing yourself with a sword to see if it hurts you. I mean, that's basically what she inadvertently did. Because if this had worked in the Boggle driver, it, in theory, with the way that it was explained that it was supposed to work, it would literally have killed her or erased her or rewrote her or did whatever. So her thought process on that was kind of dumb.
Um, yeah, it is kind of annoying that she uses that, but Peridot already showed that like bugsters can't use the gamer drivers. They're locked out like purposefully. So even if she put it on, it would have done nothing. As for like why she put it into her own driver, where it could have risked like her getting pretty badly hurt. Like at this point, I think she was like, whatever it takes to save Emu, I'm willing to do. So she was willing to risk it. Um, I think that's probably why she took all that risk.
Any thoughts on her exploring the inside of the game's data?
It was funny as shit. I had a really good laugh for like about 5 minutes when I was watching that.
That was just funny as hell to me. It's like cause she jumped in, bugsters, show up and they're already wigged out and tripped out, and they start chasing her. So she starts hiding. They keep chasing her, and it was they just kept appearing. It was funny, and it was a nice moment of levity for basically a pause from all the seriousness with the rest of this episode. And then there's what comes later, which was just fantastic for me.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, it was pretty fun. The only thing is like, okay, when she originally enters and then like she starts running from the Buckster, I'm like, all right, she got spooked. It's fine. But then like she continues to run. I'm like, you're a rider now. Why are you running away? These guys are grunts. Because I was like, oh, this is the perfect chance to do a kind of like Showa-esque invade the base setup thing. We haven't done that in a while, so we're just gonna do that with Poppy, but that didn't happen. But whatever, it was fun enough as it was. I also love like the 2D side scroller image that we got. Oh, that was great.
And now, back to Ex-Aid versus Paradox. This is a great fight. We get a lot of great shots here. My only complaint is that they did the whole cut away mid-fight to go look at something else thing, and so we don't actually see the whole fight start to finish. We just get these bits and pieces of good moments. But other than that, I'm still really satisfied with how this fight played out. Ex-Aid, like, launches himself out of his robo suit just to dive tackle Paradox. It's awesome.
Yeah, this fight was one of the best fights in Ex-Aid according to me. But yeah, the dive tackle was pretty funny, and then I guess you already said whatever you needed to say.
This fight was great. There were things on it that I had slight issues with, um, like the whole level 99 versus level 99, and then he takes off the armor and is still kicking, on par with Parado or Paradox. Same thing. That was the only true issue I had with this fight.
Well, without the armor, also he is level 99 because the it's not that he's level one and then the armor is level 98 or something that 97 or something like that. It's just the even without the armor, he's still level 99.
I guess that makes sense. I think what's throwing me off is the fact that outside of the armor, he looks no different than level 2, except he has the sword.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like I don't like how it looks basically identical. Like you wouldn't have had shit. I don't know, man. Like anything, just change the chest plate, make it like a different color, something, or the health bar, like something to make it different than the standard level twos. But eh. And the other thing is like, okay, they're really having fun with this launching thing, but every time I see it, it just cuts back to me. It's like you're just launching a level two. It's gonna get cut in half, man. Like knock that shit off. But yeah, if what you said is true, Drago, that he's like standard level 99, then it's a little more safe. It's I still don't like it too much.
Uh, in the end, Paradox wins the fight, saying it's because he's the real genius gamer M, not Emu. Uh, the other riders had their own revelations that they actually should be helping Emu out, so they all show up to help, but are knocked down before they can even henshin. Then Kamen Rider Genom, level 0, shows up, with Poppy next to him. She didn't transform into him. She had found Dan's consciousness inside of the Gashet's game data and brought him out to save Emu. Dan attacks Paradox instead, though, to get his revenge on the traitor who killed him. When Parado decides to bail, he finds that he can't possess Emu anymore. The abilities of the Bugster virus are suppressed around Genom level 0, so Parado decides to bail by himself. This return was amazing. Aside the fact that Dan again had another safeguard for his death, like just the return of the old villain to fight the new villain, that is one of my favorite tropes in anything. I love it.
The the way when Poppy's voice comes, like it looks like it's like the again is speaking in Poppy's voice. That was pretty funny. Also, what also the fact that Dan straightaway goes a parrot was actually in character. And the Buckster suppression thing, I feel, is was a bit. If the Buckster abilities would be suppressed, then wouldn't Parrot not be able to teleport or get out of there?
The Bugster's abilities are suppressed. They are not completely nullified. So, for teleporting out, apparently Parado still has enough, can still do that, but he isn't capable of possessing Emu.
I was thinking it's more that they can't infect humans. Like the field that Genom has, like around him, you know, that like black square stuff. I mean, it doesn't show up in the fight, but I'm thinking that's what's constantly active. Is like when that's active, a person can't be infected by the Bugster virus. And to like control Emu, he needs like Peridot needs the virus, right? And so that's probably what Dan nullified, and like his teleporting ability has nothing to do with that, so he could still do that.
I have to say it. Captain Crazy CEO Pants is back. After
Yeah,
I have missed him as a villain. I mean, don't get me wrong, Parado has been a phenomenal villain, but because I think everything has been built off of everything that Dan had created, losing Dan so early in the series after there being so much focus on him being out of his freaking mind and at the same time being very cautious and safe with his plans. Because I mean, seriously, this is what now his third attempt at immortality, if we count the Go Rider special.
I
Because
count the Go Rider special.
we had the immortality of Dangerous Zombie. We had the immortality of him trying to come back to life using whatever the hell that was in Go Rider, and then the Go Rider special, and then now this. While the circumstances are slightly different from what he wanted out of the first two, he's back.
Say what you
And
will about his sanity, dude's a mad genius.
He is. Literally, he has done everything he can to literally force his way into being a part of this. Entirely. As it's like because if you look at it from a logistical standpoint, he had to have known that this was going to happen in some form, some way. He knew he was going to die. Beyond the dangerous zombie part, he had to have at some point realized that this is going to cause my death. So while yes, I understand the whole flashbacks issue with the Geshat itself with the plans and all that. Cool, he figured that stuff out as a kid, is what to do for a vaccine. But the fact that there's obviously been a large gap in time between that and when the Geshat was made, because adult, CEO Crazy Pants is in the game, so it had to have been done here recent, prior to the way I look at it, prior to Dangerous Zombie. So I think he originally made this as a failsafe of Dangerous Zombie not working the way he had intended. But his foresight is freaking amazing. And the way that they played off with the preview for this episode, along with the initial reveal of Proto Genom, was fantastic. Because with the previews, it kind of led you to believe that Emu would be the one using it. Well, we know that's not the case. And then they have the reveal of Genom, Proto Genom walking up, and it's Poppy's voice. And then she just pops up next to him. It's like, wait, what the hell? And then you get the little flashback of inside the game world, and he's back. That was a masterful bait and switch.
Interesting. When I saw the preview, I thought it was going to be Poppy, which I'm like, that would be an interesting news, because I thought, like, all right, she lost her driver. She's just going to use this super prototype experimental Gashat. That would be interesting, but no, it's freaking Dan. I guess it makes sense. Like, I don't think it's Dangerous Zombie. Well, might have had something to do with it, but I think it's more just like, if you have the ability to make a backup, why not make the backup, right? Like, he's made so many Gashats at this point, it would make sense for him to, like, for his whole crazy plan of, I have to fucking, complete Dangerous Zombie to complete Kamen Rider Chronicle. I'm like, yeah, that's batshit insane. What if it fails? And it's like, this is what happens. Well, what if it fails? He made a backup. So I'm like, that's pretty clever. As for him being back, like, yeah, it's good. Like, they keep saying the suit's different, but it's kind of been a while, so I don't actually see it being that different. Maybe it's more silver or something.
There's less purple.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. The only thing I can remember is like, Dan revives and he goes like fucking super happy that he's alive again. And I was like, okay, it's one of those things where it looks less professional because it's less acting and less dramatic, because it's not like some, oh, I came back to like look and I'm gonna give some badass speech or act cool and shit. But no, Gatom's just like, how most people would be who pulled it off. Like, he's just so fucking hyper and excited, and that makes it look less dramatic because like in shows we don't show people being uncool, especially like the badass villain who just revived. But like in real life, that's probably what somebody's reaction would be if they're crazy enough to pull this off.
Like, yeah, I agree. Like, you would expect every that came back to life to be cocky, egotistical, some long, and here it is, just Dan quite out of his mind, and literally he's, aside from the fact that he seems a slightly more psychotic now, and I don't mean in the intelligent psychotic that he has been, just more literally he is out of his mind.
Maybe every time he like comes back to life, he gets more and more crazy.
Yeah, it could be that. What I was gonna say is maybe it's not a perfect creation, so it's like he didn't have time to make it perfect. It's like, all right, good enough, back up, go. Like, so it's like 80% or like 90% Dan, but like at that point it's just like it's removed the subtlety basically. So he's even more, he comes off even more crazy.
Yeah, because like I said, he's just more insane than he was to start with. It, but aside from that, he's still Dan. Like, it is literally what you would expect from him. If every time he died and came back to life, he was slightly more nuts than when he started. As long as he doesn't bring up laser, I don't care what he does at this point.
I mean, did we get the fisheye lens? Because that was fucking great in Go Riders. When he just finally flips his shit at the end. And like they get this like fisheye lens and like they basically jab it right into his face. Ah, it's freaking great. Um, but his jacket with Game Master written all over it was pretty hilarious too.
Back at CR, Poppy explains how she found Dan and how he's been revived as a Buckster. Dan's Dan's god complex kicks in as he starts bragging about being immortal or whatever, so Poppy absorbs him into her buggo driver and tells him not to be conceited. Episode end. I think that's the happiest NBA. I think that's the happiest ending we've had in quite a while.
Yes, that was one of the best endings. Also, I have a huge problem with Dan being a Buckster.
Go on.
The previous episode that Parad used the gamer driver, he couldn't use it because he was a Buckster. This episode, Poppy couldn't use it because she was a Buckster. How can Dan use it? He's a Buckster now.
Well, maybe he still has some human DNA in him.
Well,
But how? He just set his consciousness there.
Look,
yeah,
he built the things.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is maybe he on this driver he removed the safeguards, or just removed his own safeguard. So it's like whenever like if I become revived, I can use this damn driver even if I'm a Bugster.
That
So
would
maybe
make
he put, like,
sense.
he put like a special condition so only he can use it.
He did
Or
specially.
only him as a Bugster. Like probably normal humans could use it. Maybe I don't know.
He did like specially package this driver with this Gashat. I mean, he could have just left the Gashat. So maybe this is a special driver.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe.
Based on, if we're using the basis of every other, then this driver shouldn't work with Dan because he is quite literally a Bugster, unless he somehow found a way to do like with Parado, where this particular version of him has his human DNA.
He also built the thing, so like he could just code around them.
This is true. but it throws it off to me with how the bugs
Vashi, you cut out.
go figure. Am I back clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
It the reason why it throws me off is because of the fact that if that's what he did and made the workaround so he could use it, the fact that Parado can use the Bugster driver or the actual Rider driver without having to get this dumb whole loop around workaround to be able to use it. I think to me that's what throws it off for me is why it's so hard to look at that now, knowing that he is a Bugster.
Yeah. At least the ending scene of Poppy capturing Dan in that in the Buggle driver was pretty funny with Dan in the screen. Yeah. Other than that, nothing else.
I love how Nico is disturbed by it. She is just uncomfortable with this situation.
I mean, that's sort of her gimmick too, is her slightly being freaked out by a lot of shit. But yeah, that scene was hilarious because like, oh no, Dan's back. I love how like before that, like he's just sitting on a chair and like Snipe comes up to him like, oh like, screw you asshole, like ready to throw it out, and Dan just sticks out his hand like, oh, you're like, oh, he's gonna calm down and explain. He just like shoves him back. It's like, screw you, man. I was like, yeah, okay. That's kind of one of those things of Dan that I liked, where it's like you never know which side of him you'll see, like this crazy smartass or just a crazy one. That was interesting. But as for like why the rules don't apply to Dan, it's like he made all of it, like all the Gashats, or except Bergamon, but we know what happened to that one.
Well,
Um,
he started it.
yeah, that's the thing. Like he made all the drivers, so like if anybody could like figure out a workaround, it's gonna be that guy. So
Well,
if
Mighty Maximum. Yeah, Mighty Maximum X was not made by him.
Oh,
yeah,
right, and Mighty Brothers.
well, the base was, yeah, fine.
He didn't make the game, but he did make the tool.
Okay, fine. The drivers are all made by him. But so the thing is, like, if there's a workaround in the drivers, like, Dan is the one person I could see who could get around any limitations of them because he built the damn things. He knows exactly how they work. He knows how to cheat it. He probably built in exceptions for him. Like, the fucker had like two save states of himself. You know? No, fucking three, right? Because there's Dangerous Zombie, there's Go Riders, and then there's like this thing. At this point, like, yeah, right. If there's an exception, it's probably Dan's doing.
Also, for the tech riders, like these ones, where they have a tool to transform with, how often does the person that made that tool get to use it? Like, is Dan the only one?
Oh,
What didn't Krim use it in Drive initially?
yeah, he
Uh,
did.
Because wasn't
Wait.
Krim Proto Drive?
No, Chaser was part of
Oh,
there.
Chaser was Proto Drive.
But I think he used it once and then Hart wrecked him. So, like, yeah, he used it like once to try to fight off Hart, and then like Hart fucking killed him right then and there. And then he made Proto Drive to fight because his body wasn't strong enough because his consciousness was all that was left, and then Proto Drive got killed. And then like Tamari's this third one to use it. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, we can run down the list.
I realized there was another one, Sengoku Ryoma from Gaim.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're not a lot because like, Okay, if we just go by Heisei, G3, no. Um, oh, no. I was gonna say
Who?
Kanzaki Shiro, but that's not true because fucking Odin's a whole different mess.
Odin's just a puppet.
Yeah, it doesn't work normally. Oh, alternate zero.
No, alternative. Alternate Zero was his assistant.
Sorry, yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
I mean, he didn't design it, but he did make one based off of Kanzaki Shiro's designs.
well, I mean, this is his own design though. He just saw the formulas to how to like manipulate it, whatever. He saw like the background things. This driver was mostly made by him. And then what else? I don't think no Fies.
Nope, the guy in Fies never used his own.
Yeah, because it wasn't stable enough for him. Um, it's not in
Hmm.
Kabuto, that's for sure.
Decade?
Blade, no, because like the some of the undead make theirs and things like that, but they never use it. Uh, no, it's not even in Kiva because like the organization makes it, like the
Right.
system.
The exit the knuckle wasn't made by the people who used them. They just worked for them.
With
Yeah,
Decade, was it ever mentioned who made Decade's crap?
I
I think
assume
it's
Shocker made it.
Okay.
Shocker.
It's never
That,
actually
Uh,
stated.
yeah,
that
it
was
is.
why I wanted. That's why I was asking for clarification if it was ever pointed out who made it.
Wait, I think Joji Yuki made it.
I don't recall it ever actually being stated. I just kind of assumed that Shocker made it because that made more sense.
Oh,
No, wait. Yeah, Joji Yuki did make it. You know, Rider Man from AR World, the in
yeah,
the All Rider versus Daishoka, I guess.
No.
yeah.
Yeah, it was there.
He's the guy who did the intro theme song.
Gacked.
Yeah. Um, I think he uses it once. Technically, I guess like um, double, like skull and them. Like skull probably helped make it.
We have no idea where they came from.
I mean, I think that they're in the net movies, but yeah. Uh, okay, technically, Eternal because it. This is weird because like Eternal, I don't know if the guy who's carrying around the Eternal belt actually made it, but you know he works for Foundation X. He's a higher up. Like this belt is his project, and he uses it, but he can't use it well enough, and then like uh Eternal standard user gets it, and then
Yeah, the guy that you tried using it before. I guess you could argue he probably made it because I don't remember and I don't want to look it up.
yeah.
Jun Kazu.
Who?
Th yeah, the
Uh,
Utopia Dolphin. The Utopia Dopant made it.
okay, then yeah, he uses it right. No,
That is the same guy who becomes Eternal.
yeah, that's good. So there's a couple. Let's see. It's not in O's. Forze, I didn't watch.
Okay, so Forza is a no. It was made by some dude that dies before the series starts.
Okay.
It was completed by the his son.
Wizard definitely.
Wizard made his own belt.
No, but the guy who fucking spoiler. Super okay. I'm putting a spoiler, like super spoiler warning for Wizard right here. Are you okay with that, Rye?
Sure, it's like what, 5 years old at this point?
Sure. Okay. Basically, White Wizard made the Wizard drivers, and he obviously, because he's freaking White Wizard, gets to use the drivers, but he's also the freaking villain. Um, so for a White Wizard gets to do everything. He gets to be the villain. He gets to be the guy who made the drivers. He gets to have the backs. Fuck that guy. Everything. He fucking does everything, right? He gets like the tragic backstory. He gets the redemption. Then he gets killed and like everything. Fuck that guy. I mean, like he's not terrible. It's just like so much of the plot is around like White Wizard and Koyomi and like so much back behind the scenes meddling screwed that show up, man. Um,
I feel like we
okay,
need to do a wizard podcast.
maybe, but it's mostly like as much as I like Wizard, like there's a lot of filler in Wizard. Um, and the thing is, like, it's got great characters. It's got kind of an okay plot. That's its problem. Because like it's got really like good characters and good concept. It's just as much as I like it, it's not a good enough show. Like it's not fun to like fully sit through and watch. I mean, it might be okay. You know what? Fucking let's just do Wizard and Magic Land. That's great. Let's watch that. It's the best thing from Wizard. All right, it's one movie. It's fucking awesome. It's like an alternate universe thing. It's amazing. Um, right. So and then after that is Gaim, so Ryoma, yeah. Uh, after that's Drive. I guess Beltsan uses it once. Before his Beltsan.
Okay, yeah. You know the old man from Ghost,
Yeah.
the
Oh
stage.
yeah, he does
He
Henshin.
is the driver.
The guy whose name means fart.
Really?
According to the TV Nihon forums.
They don't know. They never name him, do they?
Well,
Rashi?
there's a character.
Adonis, I guess.
I don't know. I didn't watch
You know,
Ghost.
Adonis is the eldest brother, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, all I remember is I don't remember what character it was. One of the bad guys' his name or Senin meant fart. I can't remember whose it was, according to the forums on TV Nihon.
Okay, whatever. Um, I don't know, man. There's a lot of villains in Ghost, and they all sort of have weird ass names. Like Ghost. Okay, here's the thing. Wizards movie is fucking great. Watch that. That's the best thing of Wizard. Watch Ghost movie, and you'll see all the problems with Ghost. And if you can stand that movie, and it's like, all right, this is okay, then watch. You can watch Ghost. You'll be fine. But if you're like, this is fucking bullshit, I'm never watching this piece of crap again, then like stay the hell away from Ghost. Because it's not a terrible movie, but it's everything wrong with that movie is what's wrong with Ghost.
Yeah.
He wants to come back to life so he can eat food.
Okay, that's just sort of a thing. It's not literally he wants to eat food. It's more like
I don't
he
know. I've been
wants
told things about the way he was looking at that onigiri at the end.
okay, it's just a like symbolic representation. It's more like I want to have this like live a normal life and experience it with my friends sort of thing. And like it's such a simple thing, like it's right there. I should be able to reach out and live a normal life. It's that's sort of what it is. Um but it's not literally that they're fighting over him having the ability to eat food. It's not fucking Kabuto, right? It doesn't have the underlying themes of food. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Like,
Kabuto had so much food in it.
I know, right? Like, it had the whole, like, you know how Kiva has, like, music as his
Yeah.
motif? Like, Kabuto had food. It just got ridiculous after a while. Like midway through, they realized, I guess, oh shit, Kitchen Stadium, or yeah, is a thing. Oh, we're gonna put this in Kabuto now. It's fucking over the top as
They
all.
just have an Iron Chef style cook off in the middle of an episode for no reason.
Oh god, it's so dumb. That
They have this
episode
whole
is
setup about like, oh, this is a sacred knife, and it's like it's evil and shit.
yeah. It's so over the top. It's fucking insane. Like one of the main antagonists kind of acts as like the judge, and he's so over the top. It's ridiculous. I love like the weird. Kabuto has like a lot of weird ass shit, and it's sort of works and it sort of doesn't, and you can see why because the guy who wrote Kabuto writes the Tyson movies now, and like it's kind of like that, except like Kabuto is much better than fucking the Tyson movies. But like how like the Tyson movies have like weird comedy and like they try to like roll in random bits of continuity and twist it around to make like interesting plots. Like Kabuto is straight up that. It's just insanity. Plus throw food on top of that, and it's like, what even? Like Kabuto. Okay, as much as I like Wizard, Kabuto would be interesting to talk about, but the problem with that is that would require me to watch all of Kabuto again, and it's like,
Aren't you doing the group showings?
I know, it's fucking killing me. Like Bokenzer and Kabuto back to back. Whatever.
Okay, we went from Ex-Aid to Kabuto.
I mean, Ex-Aid was pretty much over.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
If you're
Whatever.
still listening to this, viewer, we're just rambling at this point.
Yeah, let's go for a little while longer, maybe 10 minutes or so.
Thank you for sticking with us. We tend to ramble.
I mean, this is what all tokusatsu podcasts do anyway, so, whatever.
I legit think we should do like a Deno podcast.
I'd have to watch Deno. I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, I love Deno.
Oh, okay. So it would be the perfect time because you'd be watching it for the first time.
I mean, I tried to watch a couple episodes. It's just too slow and boring. Like,
Okay, no.
Forza I can't watch just on principle because I'm like, Kamen Rider should not be in high school. I don't.
Forza
care how good
isn't
it-
a Kamen Rider show.
Yeah,
It just
I know.
thinks it is.
That's even worse. Like
Uh,
it's doing the Ultraman Mebius thing of like we should all be friends, we're like the good guys and shit. But like, I just feel like Mebius does it like 100 times better.
I was able to enjoy Forza for what it was, but what it wasn't Kamen Rider. Like,
Yeah,
Hibiki is more of a Kamen Rider show than Forza.
You know what the worst? The worst part is, fucking, if they put it in college, it would have been perfect. Because, like, the first Kamen Rider, what is Hongo? He's like a college student. Right? Like, there's so many college plot points in Kamen Rider. Like, evil teachers, like, experiments, like, professors and students fighting it out. Like, so many plot points. Like, you can pull shit that were in like Kuga, Agito, Faiz, freaking Ryuki, like all the early Heisei shows had like all this college stuff. It would have been amazing. And like even like the Showa era ones, like most of the Showa era writers are like college students or are around that age. Right? Like Hongo was a college student, freaking X I think was a college student. Not Nigo. I think he was a photographer, so he's probably a little older. Um, V3, I think, was young enough to be one. Uh, Stronger, I think, is a little older. Super One was an astronaut, so no. Uh, Z Cross, no, because he was working for the bad guys and a military guy. Uh, Amazons, no, because he fucking grew up in the Amazon. But yeah, you could do that. Like, it's so annoying. It would have been the
Okay, okay.
perfect setup.
Let me explain why the friendship things were had to be done. Because it was at that point of time when Forze was going on, they just quake and tsunamis and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I know why they did it for that. It's just it still bugs me because it would have been perfect.
The thing about Forza is that halfway through the series, two of the characters graduate and go on to college, and so they have this episode about like we're not going to be around anymore, so you guys are going to have to fill in our positions that as support characters, and they move on, but then they just continue to show up regularly.
Yeah, they realize it's the 21st century and you can just phone people,
Like
right?
they'll
Like,
just still show up at the school and even go to the club meetings like it didn't even matter.
it's
Because
so bad.
apparently in Japan, it's not a problem for college students to go back to high school whenever the hell they want.
I mean, maybe you could say they were doing the extra. You get like half a term to finish up your like courses and whatever if you're under 18, or maybe that's just a Canadian thing.
In Japan's defense, the superintendent of that particular school was evil, and he probably didn't care all that much. No,
Yeah,
I'm not even joking. The main villain of
Yeah,
Forza is the superintendent of the high school.
yeah, I kind of know that part. Like it kind of
and a few
reminds.
of the teachers.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's worse than Shibuya 15. I was like, it's like Shibuya. No, it's worse because at least like okay, it's one principal and one teacher, but at least like the teacher is kind of a decent enough guy later on. Shibuya 15 is fucking great, man. Like, I kind of wish we could redo Gaim's premise and but write it as Shibuya 15. It would have been amazing. Hmm. Uh, oh right. One last thing, like we forgot that like Nico does a lot of shit in this episode. Like when she takes out like a couple bugsters, or well, it's off scene, but whatever. And then like later on, when like Taiga is just like running around, she basically makes up a reason for them to go help Emu because she knows that's what he wants to do. And I was like, that's a pretty awesome moment. Like I hope it's good to see her get more character development.
It was just like less than 2 minutes of screen time, so I glossed over it in the notes.
Uh,
Sorry, I just felt like it would go faster if I didn't go over that in my notes, and if you guys brought it up, then that'd be fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Um, Man, we got off of one hell of a tangent, like tech writers to Forza. Any other tangents we want to go on before we end
Real
this?
quick, I try to keep track of them. I think we hit about 12 different shows that were at
Yeah,
least that were at least mentioned.
well, it's the Toku portal, man, not the writer portal. Um, hmm. Yeah, as for like female henchins, like I know it's in the Kiva movie, but like I can't think of any other time where like you see two female writers henshin.
Here's a little bonus discussion for you listeners that have devoted yourself this far. um, so Nico does make the argument that like she needs to be there to help defeat the Bugsters so that they can collect the proof to clear Kamen Rider Chronicle. So at this point, they have defeated 5 out of the 12 Bugsters. There are 7 left, and one of those 7 is Poppy.
Well,
Uh, okay.
Like Emu was the one who cleared Poppy's game, so they didn't collect proof because he wasn't a ride player. Nico has to do it. So either Nico has to make Poppy smile in like a dance competition or whatever, or something tragic is gonna happen.
I mean, it could just be that they could just beat Peardo and stop the game.
They'll also have to defeat Lovrika.
Yeah, that guy definitely.
Oh, and also Graphite, who still hasn't done anything.
Here's the thing, like, yeah, okay, Graphite we're gonna have to stop because that guy's not gonna back down. But Lavrika, maybe we can like switch him over to our side because like I don't see him being like too like he's not a super evil dude. He's just kind of doing what's best for the Bucksters and himself. Like
He's just
if Poppy-
manipulative and rapey.
yeah, I was gonna say like if Poppy asked, like he might switch sides. Like we have fucking Dan on our side at this point. Like at this point, anything can happen.
Well, we have not seen him for the past 2, 3 episodes.
He's still recovering from that sick burn Nico gave him.
Rating up all the Pokemarts for that burn heal.
Alright, I think that's it for this podcast. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
See you later, everybody.
Good night, everyone. See you next time.